Hey guys, it's DVD Gamer Girl here. Welcome back to my channel. So last week I made a video about Ascended Astarion, and honestly some of the comments were kind of interesting to me because I felt like a lot of people were thinking that just because I was saying that Ascended Astarion is kind of scary and he is controlling you and emotionally manipulative in the end, like I was kind of dictating that nobody should pick that ending, but that's not the case at all. Like, in my opinion, everybody should play the game however they want to play the game. You're free to prefer whichever version of Astarion you prefer. I actually hate when people say that this is the wrong way to play the game or this is the wrong ending, because at the end of the day, it's a game, it's your story, it's whatever you want to roleplay, what you like to enjoy. So as much as I do find him scary and it's not like the ending for me personally, I feel like it's really good storytelling either way. So on a similar note, today I'm going to go over the Dark Justiciar route for Shadowheart and how it kind of changes her and the romance path, because this is a version of her that I have never seen before. Like, even though I've played Baldur's Gate for like 1,000 hours already, I had never done the Dark Justiciar route for her because for any of the characters, essentially, I have never really done the evil routes. Like, I have a really hard time going the evil routes, but it's been really interesting, actually. So I'll talk through a couple of points about how after Shadowheart killed the Night Song, kind of how I felt like the romance with her changed. So right after she kills the Night Song, I feel like Shadowheart starts to grow emotionally cold and she kind of loses her softness. And she becomes definitely more dedicated to her cause, but in a way that kind of makes her shut down, I feel like, emotionally. If you ask her about your relationship right after she kills the Night Song, she already starts to be a little bit iffy about it, saying, I can't really give you my full self. I don't know if you really want to be in this with me anymore. Like, my situation is very complicated. You might be better off being with like a more straightforward lover.
I've actually done it. A Dark Justiciar chosen by Lady Shah. It almost doesn't feel real. I wanted to talk to you about that. Lady Shah has bestowed a great honor upon me. But it isn't without a cost, it seems. She expects me to fill my heart up with love for her alone, leaving no room for others. No room for us. I don't want to, but Lady Shah demands it. Everything is surrendered to her, ultimately. But she claims some things earlier than others, it seems. Perhaps we'll still be able to find a way. Some interpretation of her will that lets us stay together. But I can't guarantee anything. And I suspect that she'll demand more and more of me as time passes. If you don't want to gamble on that, I understand. You'll have little trouble finding a more straightforward lover, I suspect. Are you sure? I don't want you to resent my divided affections. Then I can only hope Lady Shah will prove lenient if I try to keep a little piece of my heart from her.
So she's definitely kind of putting her walls back up and zoning in on her dedication to Shar. And if you go into Act 3 and you defeat the current Mother Superior, Viconia basically says, you know, someday if people turn on you, remember my face. Shadowheart has a very stone cold response, basically saying, I'm not going to remember you and neither is anyone else. And then after that, she doesn't care if we kill or just leave the Mother Superior, basically.
So you think you have won? Time will tell. Far easier to claim something than hold on to it. They will turn on you in time, when you hear the whispers and see the blades drawn. Remember my face.
I won't remember you at all. Nobody will. Kill her or turn her loose. It doesn't matter. She's finished either way.
You can definitely see how stone cold emotionally Shadowheart has gotten at this point, because normally she's very caring about things. She's very conflicted. Like, even when you're staring at evil straight on in the face, like, generally I feel like she feels pretty conflicted and she has a lot of internal moral dilemmas. But, like, by the time you get to this point in the game, she's completely shut that down, and she's very, very confident in herself and in her mission, basically, for Lady Shar. Then when you go beyond this point and you get to the point where Shadowheart decides whether she's going to kill her parents or let them live after she recovers her memories from Shar that these are in fact her parents, I decided to leave the decision to her to see what she would do, and surprisingly she actually decided to kill her parents, so I'll insert that clip here.
Do what's right. I think I lost sight of that some time ago. Better to just serve blindly.
Whatever happens, we love you all the same.
We never stopped. Thank you, Moon Maiden. You let me see my Jennifer, my baby girl, one last time.
Don't call me that. My name is Shadowheart.
You are just lost, Jennifer. Seluna will show you the way home, in time.
My name is Shadowheart!
Generally, earlier in the game, if you let her make the choice of whether to kill Nightsong or not, she will usually choose not to do it. So it's interesting to see if you do kind of make her do that, or, you know, steer her into doing that, then later in the game, she will, you know, steer more towards the bad choices herself. And she even has a dialogue saying that I kind of have lost sight of what's right, and I just am going to blindly dedicate myself to Shar at this point. So you kind of see how much her walls have come up. The second point that I've noticed is that your relationship with her ultimately becomes more lustful rather than romantic, like rather than very loving. She does indicate many times that her heart doesn't really belong to you anymore. It belongs to Shar, but she can give you her body, or she can give you pleasure. And all of the nights that you spend together are more about kind of enjoying the moment rather than it actually deepening like a bond or a romantic connection you have. It always feels like borrowed time, like it's always something in the name of Shar, some stolen moments, some temporary indulgence or pleasure, and it's never really about making love anymore. It's more lusty and more physical at this point. And any time that she talks about, you know, spending the night with you or being intimate with you, it's always more like dominant and it's more physical. Like the way that she describes things is more physical.
You can frame many acts as service to the Dark Lady if you put your mind to it. Seduction can be a worthy form of subterfuge. A snatched moment can practice the art of stealth. And making a lover wait? Well, there's few finer torments if you know what you're doing. As long as my actions can be thought of as honoring Shar or honing skills in her service, there's a great deal of flexibility to be had. Well, let's just say I can play the innocent when needed, have a lighter touch than you might expect, and can untie many knots with just my mouth. Practical skills, learned in service of Lady Shar. The catch is this. I can't truly love you. Not like most define it. I'll always have to keep a place for Lady Shar. But you're clever, willing, and flexible. You needn't feel left wanting. I'll give you all that I can. Just don't call it love.
I mean, it is very hot, don't get me wrong. It's like very, very hot in its own way. Probably hotter than her actual like nice good Shadowheart scenes, but it's definitely not a good thing. Like, it's good, but it's not in a good way at all. Like, she's very, very lusty, and I mean, that's very hot, but it's just like not like her whatsoever in her alternative good world route, essentially. And you know, your relationship with her becomes more transactional. I feel like it's not really very meaningful. And the third point, which is kind of similar to the first one I had mentioned, is it's clear that Shar is now a priority in her life, which means that you are no longer a priority in her life. So anytime you try to bring up the relationship with her, or you try to bring up your bond with her, she will always kind of deflect it, always putting her duty first. Like, she'll say, you know, we might be able to find a way to make things work, but my first and foremost dedication is to Shar.
The final sacrifice has been made. I am Lady Shar's right hand now. It has all been worth it. Every step, every trial, every drop of blood. That was always a fragile, elusive thing. Ever since I slew Nightsong, I didn't want to surrender it then. Perhaps now, as first among Lady Shar's children, I can give myself leave to do as I like. But all that must wait for now. The Night Singer's Church cannot thrive if the Absolute isn't stopped. When the time comes for the final battle, Lady Shar's faithful will be ready. Until then, we should continue to do what we must.
And it seems to basically escalate to a point where she wants to fully dedicate herself to Shar, and she doesn't really want to continue the relationship with you at all anymore. But she's still willing to, you know, indulge in the physical aspect if you want that.
It means nothing. Shar owns my heart. But luckily, she's willing to share the rest of me. Just this once. That's what makes it so good.
But she is no longer entertaining basically the possibility of a romantic relationship. So it's very interesting to see this version of Shadowheart, because the romance kind of derails like as soon as she goes down the Dark Justiciar route. I think there is a way to kind of redeem her back a little bit if you do end up saving her parents. I think she can find herself again, and you can kind of go back down the nicer romance path. But for the purposes of this video, I did every evil choice. Like, I killed Nightsong, I killed Viconia, I killed her parents, and I just wanted to see how the romance would go if you went this route. And it basically kind of derails, and you became more of a transaction lust type of thing with the haunting that you were once in love, basically, is kind of how it felt. And she becomes a different person. Like, it's almost like the version of her that fell in love with you before doesn't really exist anymore. Like, I find that really sad. And, you know, though it is very attractive, like some of the ways that she talks about intimacy, like after she becomes like evil, I just don't think it's very romantic, I guess. Anyways, if you guys have done this path, let me know what you think, like about how the intimacy scene compares, like in her dark route versus her kinder route. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Let me know of your opinions down in the comments below. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.